I've been thinking a bit about what it means to have a passion in life and how people discover these things. It seems pretty spontaneous a lot of the time, like you just stumble into your greatest passions. I don't really believe that's true, not entirely, but it certainly does hold a bit of the truth in it. I think it's important to define what a passion is and explain how they sort of evolve over time. Let's build a simple pipeline to work with. The first stage is curiosity. Maybe you've been curious about an activity or some random thing. Whatever. It doesn't really matter what it was. You may have felt compelled to seek out more information or try out whatever the activity was, provided it was legal and at least somewhat reasonable, of course. Once you've learned what you wanted, some things progress into the next stage. The second stage is interest. Certain curiosities of ours lead us to discover things that we enjoy learning about and things we enjoy doing. These are our interests. We repeatedly engage with them in casual ways simply because they stimulate our brains and help us deal with daily stress. We have many interests that can change quite a lot. Some days I want to watch niche cleaning videos, and sometimes I just want to play Minecraft. That's really autistic of me, but no surprises there, I guess. The point is that we have lots of interests, but it's pretty rare that these interests grow into passions. The third stage is passion. If you stick with an interest long enough, or if it sticks with you long enough, it has the potential to turn into a passion. After you spend enough time on something, you start to attach meaning to it. There are qualities to it other than enjoyment, and that's what makes it stick longer than casual interests. Everything that I feel passionate about has extra meaning tied to it, even if I no longer do that thing anymore. An example from my life would be music. I really adored electronic music as a kid, with no vocals that was vaguely video game-like, and I did want to make my own at that point. The problem is that I was like 10 years old and got overwhelmed looking at any music making software. So I just kept that curiosity inside me. My music taste grew wider and wider as I got older, and then I found a substitute to help me learn more about music. I made rhythm game charts for a couple of years, and that let me learn about music structure, but it wasn't quite enough. That old curiosity of mine ate at me until eventually I actually started trying to make music. I was very interested in learning about the process, and I found meaning in making music for myself. It has turned into a passion of mine, and now I utilize it for these videos, as well as to make my own individual pieces every so often. Creating music allows me to explore and express complicated emotions that are hard to describe, which is the extra meaning that turns it from an interest into a passion. Before music, it was creative writing, and before that, I was really invested in studying bugs. Hell, before that I played tennis. I remember all of my passions because they all hold some kind of personal meaning to me. And this is basically just to say that lifelong passions can only happen if you find your own meaning in it. Easy to say, harder to actually do, but it's very possible. Let's say you're either looking for a passion to engage in, or you're looking for something new. How can you discover these things deliberately? This is where you have to really think about what makes you curious. What kinds of things do you think about when your brain is idle? What catches your attention the most in your life? That's a lot to think about, so I'll walk through it as well. Something that always tends to grab my attention are frogs. I really like frogs. Always have. I've had pet frogs before, and frog videos are great. You could say that frogs are a consistent interest of mine. It's not enough to form a lifelong passion around. it's pretty strong. If I wanted to, I could probably work my way towards frog conservation or frog breeding, which would add some tangible meaning to my interest in frogs. My actions in caring for frogs would impact the world around me, and so that would contribute to the development of frogs as a passion. Let's say that I was only curious about frogs instead. Just to start from the beginning, now that you've had some time to think about some of the things you're curious about. If I learned a bit about frogs and found they were pretty cool, but not anything to get excited about, maybe I could try things adjacent to frogs. Maybe I could learn about other amphibians, or other small creatures like geckos. Basically, I would cast a net around frogs with the knowledge that something about frogs made me curious, and so I want to hone in on the specific thing that triggered my curiosity. I might discover that I like fish more, and I was mostly curious about tadpoles rather than frogs themselves. That allows me to shift my focus and explore fish of various types. This process is a bit tedious, but if you really want to find things that can turn into passions, that's a very active way to go about it. There is another way that passions can form, which is kind of a reverse version of the method I just described. Sometimes you end up doing something that you're not really sure about. You don't hate it, but you can't say you really like it. And over time, you slowly grow a sort of appreciation for it. This is a weird phenomenon that can happen because your brain experiences lots of subtle changes constantly. The more you do something, the more familiar it becomes to your brain, and the more it cements into your neural pathways. It's like exercising a muscle, except the muscle is the activity you're unsure about. If you dislike aspects of it, then your dislike of it may only grow stronger. The opposite is the same. If you find enjoyment in certain aspects, then you may grow to really like it. If you feel that there is meaning in the thing you're doing, you may find ways to overlook the bad parts of it, because the sense of purpose is more important. Being able to tie a deep sense of meaning to something first can be a very strong driving force for careers especially. This is true for jobs that are hazardous or dangerous. Police officers, firefighters, military positions, things like that. Even like gross jobs like plumbers and sewer workers and other stuff that's not fun. This sense of meaning can easily carry people through tough careers, and in turn, they'll find ways to enjoy certain parts of the job no matter how rough it may be. This is part of the magic of the human brain. I'm more of the curiosity first type rather than the meaning first type, so I don't particularly have many examples of the second method. The only one I can think of are these videos I make. I don't really enjoy making these videos in the typical sense, but I feel there's a lot of meaning in making them, and that is what allows me to push through the discomfort of it. It involves things I enjoy, like writing and music, which helps, but overall this is a meaning-focused path for me. These methods require you to find things you care about, whether that's curiosity or the desire to make an impact, or both, which does take some introspection and honest thought. If you don't really know where to start, then perhaps you should try some new things just to see what happens. Trying new things isn't always comfortable, trust me, I would know, but that doesn't mean they aren't worth trying. If you feel even a little bit of a draw to something for whatever reason, try thinking about it in detail to gauge how you feel about it first. Do some research, watch some videos, become familiar with the idea if you need to beforehand. That can really help you get a sort of understanding of how you're going to experience it and how it'll feel, at least in most cases. Like many things worth doing, it may not be easy, and it'll take some deliberate effort on your part. Passions rarely ever just fall into our laps. They are built from the ground up through our choices, and they take time to build. If there's something that you feel is worth doing, worth exploring, or worth learning about, then do it. There is no time like the present to start working on creating a lifelong passion.